Is the injury done, and are you ready to get back in the ring again? Because I know that that's the big question, and I know that everyone's kind of itching to see you again. How far are we from getting you back in the ring?
Your father was such an icon in wrestling. But the interesting part is when we originally talked, this wasn't something that you were interested in.
Yes. So actually, my two brothers growing up, my older brother and my younger brother, were the wrestling fans. For me, it was more something that I took my friends to do, especially in college. Like, hey, you want to go to a wrestling show freshman year? So I was my dad's biggest fan, but I never saw myself in the industry or in that light. Especially during that time, I just looked at the women like, oh my gosh, they're supermodels, where I'd played sports my whole life. So I never thought about, following in his footsteps. But in 2012, when the Four Horsemen were inducted, we had, as a family, spent a lot of time helping my little brother get on a better path. And he had been suffering a drug addiction, but he had been on the independents for a couple years. So when we were at dinner with one of the producers during the big WrestleMania week in 2012, it was my dad, the producer, and Reed and I, and they were, I think, trying to make him jealous or say, hey, Ashley, there's an opportunity for you, but trying to get him engaged. And my brother, when the producer at the time said that to me, he was like, oh my gosh, you got to do this. You got to do this. We can do it together. So that's really how it came to be. I wasn't, I was just personal training, was kind of lost,
Amazing.
Not sure what I was going to do in the future. And when I looked at my brother and just kind of thought, okay, maybe this would help him get on the right path. And I don't have that much, going on right now. I reported to, which is now NXT, FCW, 3 months later, that summer of 2012. And the rest is history.
So phenomenal. And, the interesting part is that you took this as, let's say, not necessarily on a whim, but you kind of did. You took this on a whim saying, all right, this is something we can do together. But you've turned it into so much more. When you look at all of the records you're breaking, you're truly an icon, not only just females in the sport, but really for the sport itself. Your dad broke, I think, 14 records or something like that. And I think you're pretty close. Are we looking at breaking that record?
So, well, just going back a little bit, I think why I picked it up so fast was the reason why I was doing it. So my little brother ended up passing away a year into being in the developmental system. So when he passed away, I think it just clicked on another level where it was like, I have to make it. I have to continue his dream. It kind of gave me an edge to a different kind of motivation where it wasn't like this was a passion. This was like more than a passion. It was legacy. It was for family. It was, to see him live out his dreams and everything that he struggled. But in terms of my dad's title record, when I first started, I never really realized how, to me, he's just dad. So I never really realized how not famous, but how much he meant to the industry as a whole. Like what kids my age were, looking at him, or even like my peers, my coaches, like he had inspired an entire generation and I never looked at him that way. So now that he holds he's tied with John Cena. And because I'm so close to it, it wasn't something that I actively thought about when I started, because again, it was not something I dreamed about. I just worked for it. So it's crazy to think in this, where I started and then being his daughter, if, when that time comes, if that ever happens, I almost think it's destiny. It's not even by like chance. Like, How do you have someone who meant so much to an industry in a male dominated world, and then his daughter lives up to that and carves out her own path? It's just, you hear so many stories of how hard it is when you have a second generation, third generation following the footsteps of someone. Even getting to his number, that's not even a quarter of the pressure that I put on myself, that I compare myself to him. That's maybe almost too much pressure, some would say.
That's what makes it so difficult, because you're expected to be the best. And therefore, that's why you have to train so hard. And I think probably that's why you are as good as you are, because you felt like the bar was set so high that you really couldn't not only let your father down, but yourself down. And, I think a lot of people that are listening, and a lot of our listeners, don't really understand how difficult it is to be a professional wrestler and how demanding it is, your training and your schedule, and how you're constantly traveling or training or working. You mind walking us through a typical week of training for you and how you balance weight training, cardio, and in-ring practice? Because I know people want to look like you, so they want to follow that same regimen.
Yes, it definitely took me a couple years on the road to find what worked for me. But through all of it, it's consistency and at times very monotonous. And it's a lot easier being in your own bed 7 nights a week and having your own refrigerator. So it took me a couple years figuring out how to be crafty with certain, like at Starbucks, I always get the egg white bites. Subway, I get the grilled chicken and lettuce. But in terms of training, I started out with powerlifting, like hang clean snatches, much more for overall strength. And then as the years went by, I really started to get into bodybuilding, and I'm not a bodybuilder, but their habits in terms of nutrition and separating isolated movements with exercise. So for me, like when I go to the gym, it's not even just about, I really want my, legs to look great. It's like for my mind too. It's like my 1 hour and a half of escape every day. So usually I leave Thursdays, come back Tuesdays, depending on if I have media or red carpet or anything during the week, because I feel the life of a WWE superstar, we kind of are jack of all trades. We do it all. So work out Thursday morning before my flight, land in the city, Friday morning, find a gym nearby that arena, and then leave TV, work out Saturday, work out Sunday, and I just switch up body parts depending on if I had a long match or not. But really, you just have to find what works for you and stay consistent, and at least an hour a day. But the diet, I think, is the most important part. Like I've done it all. Like I've followed girls on Instagram and copied their diets, to YouTube videos, to having a trainer. And really, you just being consistent and looking at it as a lifestyle. I feel like that's
finding
how you
what works for
maintain
you and sticking
the physique
to it.
and what you want. Like sometimes I'm skinnier. Yes. You're not going to be able to copy and paste someone's regimen and think, oh, I'm going to look like that. I used to think that, but realized that it's not that.
Well, you've done a pretty amazing job. So anyone who, if you follow her on Instagram or if you've seen a match or something like that, obviously you are in incredible shape. We kind of talk about, there's one aspect of wrestling and WWE and things like that where it's fitness, it's training, it's the appropriate diet and things like that. But there's a glam portion too. I mean, friends with Stacy Keibler, and there was just that, she was one of the OGs where there's that glam part that's associated with it. And you have to follow the same type of, not mold, but you're kind of walking in that same path. What do you do? What are some of your favorites? I mean, we talk about your own skincare, what's me time?
Well, I'm definitely a skincare junkie. And I mean, like I have every product, like I've tried.
Love it.
Not try, but I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Even I've used I can't think of that night cream that you guys have, the stem cell moisturizer.
Yes.
I love the retinol body oil.
Oh, yeah.
I use it. It feels so good. So for me, I think when I was younger, being around the business, I looked at how much the girls had to travel and be in makeup. And I know this sounds silly, but like we're always in planes. So to me, hydration makes such a difference to your skin, and not being in makeup all day, every day. Like if I'm in the ring, I'm in makeup, or if I have to do an appearance. But if I'm not on camera, I'm always fresh face. So I definitely think that makes a difference. Like I will not go to sleep unless I've washed my face and put on a retinol or a anti-wrinkle collagen, anything.
Music
I go
to my
back and
ears
forth.
here.
Yeah. But I just think it just keeps, just the stressors being on the plane and the travel, it definitely takes a toll on you. I wish I could say that I, had a great sleep schedule, but on the road, sometimes you don't even get in till 3 or 4 in the morning. So it's not that. But for me time, I love facials. Like one day I will do lasers because I know they're great, but I have a facial like probably every 2 weeks with the same girl I've known for 10 years.
Amazing. When you talk about skincare concerns and stuff like that, travel and eating on the road is probably two of the hardest things that you have to deal with. And then you combine that with potential loss of sleep. And so it's amazing.
Well, and the makeup. Some of the girls don't even take off the makeup. I really think that adds to bad skin. Like as soon as I'm done with an appearance, my makeup is off and then I just go about my day.
Love it.
I really do think that makes a difference.
I think so too. I think sometimes too much makeup ages the person. And, I agree with you. I think constantly, making sure that your skin is clean and healthy. And then using, like you said, the retinol. I agree with you. I think that total body retinol is phenomenal. I love the way it feels. But
it's so great.
And everyone forgets not to just treat their face. Again, the world sees your body. So the idea is you're held to a different standard. You have to, keep up with your skin.
Well, I will say that the transition for my generation, the women were no longer looked at as eye candy.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, we went from divas to superstars where there wasn't a difference between men and women. So I don't think the beauty, my character is just glamorous in general. Like you wouldn't see Charlotte ever not, wish I had something. Like here's one of my robes from like one of my big WrestleManias.
Yes.
But that's just part of the showmanship, the larger than life characters and being on TV. But I don't think like that's important for Charlotte to always look like that. But I love that the business has evolved to where when you think glam, you just think certain characters. And instead you just think like a bunch of badass women who can tell a good of a story as a man can. But to me, being polished and how, you want your character to be perceived. Like I want Charlotte to look perfect at all times.
Love that.
So that it's just.
Yeah, look, and for being such a badass, at the same time, obviously you have a very compassionate, magnanimous flair to it. I'll use that. When we met at the Smile Train Gala, and for us, we chose that as an organization that we wanted to donate some of our proceeds to because we really believe as plastic surgeons, they really help with cleft lip and palate. Tell us about how you got involved.
Okay. I do not have a direct connection. Like I didn't know anyone with a cleft palate. I didn't have one. It was actually my periodontist. I've had my teeth knocked out multiple times and have been through certain procedures from gum grafting and bone grafting to where my periodontist, because one day I don't know what happened, but somehow he mentioned scar tissue and brought up that he did pro bono work for kids that had cleft and the procedure and what goes into it. And I was like, oh, tell me more. And at that time, I hadn't been working, like I'd been off because of this. And I really had been looking for something else to connect to other than just working out in the gym and just, giving back to the community where it wasn't just giving back in the ring to the fans. And when he said that, I started to research different organizations because he didn't even mention Smile Train, but I found Smile Train by just looking at different, because there's so many, we had talked about this before, but there's so many different organizations that work with cleft children or even adults. So that's how, and I called, or I didn't call, but someone, my assistant called and was like, Charlotte Flair would be interested in working with you guys. Anything, do you have any, not roles, but how could she help?
Sure. How could you get
your
involved?
cause? Yeah, and I happened to have a show in Mexico City a couple of weeks after speaking with them, and one of their headquarters is in Mexico City, so Mexico City and then Monterey. So we organized for me to come to the hospital in Mexico City and see the children and the work they do. And then the next show, I don't know if they brought the kids or did I get tickets, but we just stayed in contact with Troy, who you guys know, and then the gala in New York. And I did do a smile day, PR day in Tampa for them. So hopefully whenever the opportunities come up, I can visit the hospitals and just mention the work they do.
Amazing.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, listen, the one thing, again, I love the fact that you've got this side of you where you want to give back and things like that. I know that, in this business, you need to be physically tough. You also have to be mentally tough. And I know that you've been, you had an injury that kind of set you back. And to kind of tell me what that was like and how you've been dealing and coping.
Well, when it first happened, I thought my life was over. I was like, oh my gosh, a perfect storm. Like my husband had just come back to the company or was on his way back. Like I knew he was going to be debuting soon. And I just, from the moment I was taken out, I just have kept telling myself that I'm going to come back the best version of the queen when I do come back. And you never like to be sidelined due to an injury. But then again, I'm not sure if I would have ever sidelined myself had it not been for the injury. So it's been a challenge, but a challenge I know that's going to make me better in the long run, because I've had the opportunity over these, I think it's been like 9-8 months now, to go back and see things that I would have done over. What can I do over? Look at the landscape of the division, try to figure out where I can add character layers when I come back. And I think the biggest struggle for me mentally is I've never not been able to rely on my athleticism. So like where I might not be the best on the mic or a certain look, or I've always been so proud of like how physical I am, and not having that feel 100% has been an adjustment for me. Where like before it was like, I know the girls respected me for being tough and, not being injured. And when this happened, I was like, oh, I can be injured. So it really it's been a mixed blessing. Yeah, it's for me, it feels very vulnerable. But I know that in the long run, it's going to be better for me.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was watching some of the progress on your Instagram and showing how you're really pushing through it. And I think it's a testament to all females, all athletes, really. You could have said, I'm done, but you didn't. And I saw you powering through. It's a true testament to your own willpower. And so what helped you the most cope mentally? I mean, was it just that you knew that pushing through and the physical therapy and things like that just kind of gave you that mental clarity, or was there something else? I mean, some people, they meditate. Some people, they, it's just.
No, well, I definitely had to go back to the basics. I wasn't someone that liked to stretch, or the rehabbing part was definitely new to me. It definitely made me slow down, and maybe I needed to slow down. But I've had the opportunity to be a part of most of the first for the women in WWE. And I think for me, knowing that I'm as hungry right now, being the most decorated female or having all these firsts, that I'm just as hungry now as I was when I debuted in 2015, that tells me that I'm doing something right. Because I don't know, I think that's what sets people apart from others, is if they've had all these accolades, but they still want to be better, get better, and still make an impact, even though I don't feel this way, but I feel some people could say, oh, well, Charlotte could walk away and have an incredible legacy. But to me, that's not I still have more things that I want to do. I still want to grow.
There's more.
There's more to, yeah.
And it's interesting because
I think that's the easy way to say, oh, well, she's done it all. What's left?
What's left? Yeah.
What's left? That's when it gets hard.
Well, I know all the listeners are wondering if you're back, meaning is the injury done and are you ready to get back in the ring again? Because I know that that's the big question. And I know that everyone's kind of itching to see you again. How far are we from getting you back in the ring?
Oh, I can't give that up. I still have to wait for people to be surprised.
That was it. I go, this is going to be perfect.
Surprised.
I love it. I love it. Well, there's no doubt that everybody's looking forward to you.
We want to be there. Just so you know, we want to be front and center, ready to go
I
with
know,
our
when
wives.
I'm in LA, y'all are definitely coming.
Definitely. How's your husband?
He's doing well. He's doing actually really well on the road, and I'm looking forward to joining him.
Please tell him we say hello.
Yeah,
I will for sure.
I
actually stole this office. He was in class. I was like, I gotta do a podcast. So I think I'm gonna have to go apologize when we're done.
Tell him it's with us. Maybe he'll be okay with it.
It's for a good cause.
I will.
I kind of had a question. I mean, obviously, when you come from a family where father's an icon, you are, crushing and pushing forward, and you're daddy's girl. Is there is there a competition or a competitive side where you say, all right, Dad, you've given me the tools, now watch what I do? Or is it that you say, look, I respect what you've done. I'm not here to compete. If it happens, it happens. I'm so curious on this. Or does it depend on the day?
No, well, okay. So my dad raised me to be very, very competitive. Are we competitive with each other? I think so, but not to where my dad is my biggest fan. But when I say my dad is competitive, it is more, he is the spotlight. When I say competitive, like when he was managing me in 2015 and 16, all I kept thinking was, I'm either going to sink or swim. My dad's either going to steal the show when we're on camera together, or I'm going to take this as an opportunity to show the world that I don't need him or outshine him, or that I can keep the attention and focus on me. So that, I think, took me to the next level. Not next level, but taught me a lot and definitely performed under pressure. But even if like my dad and I were on TV together, say next year, my dad still wants to be the star, the spotlight, the man. But it's not competitive where like he knows he's a star and I know I'm a star. Yeah. But we're like, he's not like, man, are you going to break my record or anything like, but I think it's just his showmanship.
Of course.
Like that's,
it's hard to get rid of that. I'm imagining, but I'll bet that he's going to be, that he's super proud of you already.
Oh, he's my biggest fan.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He really like almost sometimes where it's like, can you stop talking about me in interviews? Like you're making people not like me because you like me so much.
That's funny.
So great. Oh man, that's a good problem to have right there. I'll tell you that. If you like this video, you're going to love this one.
It does. And it's funny because it's like the reason we use makeup, right, is to look younger. But then you go too far and it's completely the opposite, which I'm sure is the same for you guys.
Absolutely.